Hey guys, welcome back to another Here Now with Matthew. I, of course, am Matthew, as always. Um, I don't expect that to change anytime in the near future, but who knows? Anything can happen. So, when I started this channel, my main goal was to document the journey from zero to financial independence, basically. I was literally starting out with nothing, and almost a year later, I'm pretty much right back where I started. I gained a lot over the year, and then it's mostly gone. Um, and most of this channel has been and probably will continue to be all the things that I'm learning about myself going through this journey. And discovering all the self-limiting beliefs, all the things that are holding me back, all the things that um, are stopping me from being me, basically. And you know, if in the end I achieve wealth and financial independence, that's awesome. That's great. I'm totally down for that. But to me, it's not the end of the world if I don't, because where I started, I was already really happy with everything that I had done in my life, and it's only these times when I'm living in cities, when I'm living like a Westerner, basically like a European or whatever, that I find that I really want money. When I'm out living on the farms and working the land and being with nature, that stuff doesn't seem to matter as much. Um, so yes, I am still working towards that goal, but the definition of financial independence to me is extremely flexible. And who knows, maybe that'll actually turn out to be my biggest downfall. And I will have to actually adhere to a strict Western definition of financial independence. Whatever, that's fine, it doesn't matter. Um, this moment in my life has been boiling for some time now. This is something that I have not wanted to say. It's not something that I've wanted to put out there because I'm scared. Um, I'm scared of the same thing happening to me that has happened to who knows how many other people over the history of civilization. Um, so I don't know where to start with this. Okay, I kind of know where to start with this, but I don't want to, so I'm hesitating. Um, I watch and listen to a lot of different things. I read a lot. I study a lot, and from a very from a large variety of sources. Like, I don't just listen to one viewpoint. I listen to a lot of different viewpoints, including and most recently Abraham Hicks. There was something Abraham Hicks said in one of their joy rampages that really hit. Like it really it's provoked a lot of self-reflection. A lot of self-reflection. They said, I love when an idea can expand unfettered by contradictive thoughts, by yeah, contradictive thoughts. I love the feeling. That's it. I love the feeling of an idea expanding unfettered by contradicting thoughts. And like that just really like whoa. And I started looking at all the things that I say I want or I think I want in my life, and started really paying attention to um, when I think about something, whether that feels expansive, like in my body, whether there's this kind of relaxing and this release happening in my body, or if it feels really tight and hard to breathe in my body. And I noticed that when often, not every time, sometimes it's just a no. Sometimes when I feel that really tight, constricting feeling in my body, it's just, this isn't for me right now. And that's fine. But often, what it really is my heart's going yes, and my mind is going, but wait, what about this? Those are the contradicting thoughts. And so I've really been paying attention to those a lot lately. And the big one that often comes up is issues with authority, particularly governmental authority. Um, and like I'm feeling my body tighten up as I'm saying this. Like I don't want to say it. I don't want to put this out there on the internet for anyone to hear. But it feels like I need to. So you guys are just gonna get to watch me go through my fear process for a second because I'm really not wanting to say this. Um, it comes down to a question. It comes down to a question that I have never been asked. You probably never have either, and probably never will get asked. Not in any way that will actually allow you to make a choice. There's so many things in my life that are uncomfortable that I don't enjoy doing, but I do them anyways because I chose to do it. Like I chose to step into this, and I knew that there was a possibility that I wasn't going to like all of it. But I'm choosing to do it anyways because I felt that expansive yes, that intuitive yes in my body when I made the choice. But there's many things that exist in my life that I had no choice over. And those things gnaw at me. Like, I don't like them. And right now, the big one that's coming up, do I want to be a citizen of the United States? Do I want to be a citizen of any country? I didn't choose this whole idea of citizenship by birth is really just pissing me the fuck off. I there's so many things that are really fun and really enjoyable that have come out of Western society. Um, Flying airplanes, scuba diving, um, fast cars, you know, things that I really enjoy. I love racing cars. I love to go out and feel that speed and know that it's only my reflexes and my training that is keeping that car on the road, and it is challenging myself to be faster and faster every single time. Like I love that feeling, and I know that that is only really possible because of the science and technology that has been developed over the years through Western thought. And that's cool. And there's, having roads to be able to drive on and airports to be able to go to and get in a plane and fly anywhere I want in the world. These are all things that come from the Western man, from the European man, from the white man. Um, and those are really helpful things in my life. But there's a lot more that just suck. All the trash, the wasteful attitude, the just the destruction that we're wreaking on the planet and on other peoples, and the economic slavery. You know, I my eyes were really open to a lot of this the first time I went to Peru, and I spent quite a bit of time in one of the poorest neighborhoods in one of the poorest towns in Peru, Chimbote. And one day we were driving out into the desert to this ancient site, and there's just these straw, like literally no more than 4x4 by 8 feet, 7 or 8 feet high, um, dividers set up, and they're just dividers. There's no roofs. And I asked what they were, and Pete, my buddy, he said, "Well, there's this thing in Peru where if you find a piece of unoccupied land I don't know if it's just unoccupied or government land or how it actually, like, I don't know the details of how it works, but there's this thing where if you can get 4 walls built between sundown and sunrise, that space is yours." And there are literally hundreds of thousands of people who are being kicked off their native lands by Western companies going in to log or mine or drill for oil or natural gas or whatever, um, and they're being evicted from their homelands, and they're being uprooted from a self-sustaining, harmonious life where they were perfectly capable of taking care of themselves, and they're being told to go down to the cities because there's work in the cities and they can get a job and they can get money and they can survive that way. But there is no work in the cities. Like, there is no work, and so they end up with no way of supporting themselves and no way of feeding themselves, and they're forced to literally they have no other resources. They manage to scrape up enough money to buy these, like, they're these woven straw mats that they use as walls, and they pick a spot and they put it up, and it just becomes these just miles of these little huts, and most of them can't even afford to buy a roof, and so it's just the 4 walls with a door, not even a door, an opening, until they can scrape up enough resources to put a roof on it. And this is the world that we're creating and supporting. We are supporting companies that are literally destroying other people's lives for their own profit and for our own enjoyment. And that's not something I'm okay with. And, you know, it's a large part of why I tend to reject this society and all the options that are available to me through it. really it comes down to I don't feel like I ever had a choice. I was never asked if I wanted to be a citizen. I was never asked if I wanted to support these things that the US government supports, that most Western governments, first world nations, whatever you want to call them, support. I don't agree with a lot of what most governments do with tax money they get from me and from other people. I was never asked if I wanted to be a citizen. And this whole notion of citizenship by birth just rankles. It just it really just pisses me off. And I was actually going somewhere with all this, and now I am blinking out because I'm so pissed off I can't even think straight. Oh yeah. And here's the thing that really, really gets me. Uh, it's the way I see people respond to the idea that there is another way of being, another way of living, another way of surviving. Um, like I'm crazy. Like they look at me like I'm insane. And I'm looking back at them and going, don't you realize all this stuff was just made up? Like the Magna Carta, made up. The Constitution, a bunch of guys didn't like the way things were going in Europe, came over here, made up a new way of doing things. Just made it up, invented it out of thin air. Um, the entire basis of our society was literally just imagined at some point. And yeah, okay, I know I'm oversimplifying a lot here. That it wasn't just poof, let's build all this stuff. It was an evolutionary process. But at every step of the process, every decision that was made to create something new was something that someone just made up right there on the spot. And then a bunch of other people went, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that. The UN, made up. Countries, made up. All of it, just, it was all imagined at some point. And what I keep coming back to is maybe it's time to imagine something else. Because this isn't working for me. I don't know about you. Um, I know there are a lot of people that genuinely enjoy their lives, that really love this system that we have imagined over the last however many hundreds of years. And that's cool. You guys go, rock it, like enjoy your lives. I don't. I don't. I didn't choose this. And I don't want to live in this country, but because I was born here, I'm not allowed to go live somewhere else. And getting permission to do that has proven to be extremely costly or impossible. Like I really dug into getting permanent residence in Canada not too long ago. And the way I'm living my life now, I don't have the resources to do it. Like that's just it's that simple. Like I would have to embrace the system and start playing the money game um, in order to come up with enough resources that work in this imaginary world, this imaginary money to pay a lawyer to imagine up some reason to get me residence in the country that was that's operating on imaginary laws. And what I'm not saying that this stuff is bad. Like I'm not saying that we should all go out and just ignore all the laws. This is the world that I live in. I don't ignore the laws. I don't ignore most of the laws. Maybe come back to that later. But what I am saying is it feels like it's time for me to start challenging the status quo. Like really challenging it. Because it doesn't work for me. I want something new. I want something different that doesn't destroy the lives of others just to have a new car or just to have supermarkets that have an overabundance of food on them. It's time to imagine something new. And so that is really the core of what has been stopping me from embracing all these principles of financial freedom and health and um, interest in leveraging money and playing the money game like that. Like I don't want to get wealthy by that system. I want to come up with a new way of doing it. Maybe I simply just want to redefine wealth. I don't know, but these are all things that I'm going to be playing with in the videos over the next few months and possibly years. Who knows how long this is going to go on. I feel like there's more, but it may not come out until editing, and I may have to make a second video because it does feel like there's something unsaid, and it feels like this whole concept isn't quite gelled yet. Like it's not quite cohesive yet. There's still parts of it that are missing, um, and there's things that don't quite make sense in it. So feel free if anyone is actually watching this, feel free to actually pick it apart and reach out to me. Yeah, thank you guys. I'm really appreciating getting to talk these things out, and I do find it really helpful for me to actually talk it out with all of you, even if there's really not anyone out there watching. Um, just being able to say this out loud, I find really helpful. So, if you are watching, if you've made it through this, however long this video is going to end up being after editing, thank you, and I hope that it really helped you clarify some things in your life. Like maybe you guys have been struggling with a similar thing, and just hearing that question, like, do you actually want to be a citizen? Should you have the choice? Should citizenship be by birth, or should it be something that we can choose for ourselves as adults? And how would that system look? Like, what could we reimagine for ourselves going forward? I'd love to hear your answers to those questions. I really would. Um, and I would really love it if it could be done without violence. You know, the founding fathers of this country, as far as I can tell, were very much of the opinion that when a government becomes too oppressive, it's time to overthrow it by any means necessary, including violence. And I don't feel violence is the answer. To me, violence just begets more violence. It just creates this vicious circle, and it's something that to me has been clearly demonstrated in the Middle East and in Africa and in India and here in the United States. Like, violence perpetuates violence, and I really don't want to play into that cycle. I would love to be able to just stop and go, no, it's time to change this, but it's time to change it lovingly. From a place of love, with love, for love. And with appreciation for everything that the old brought. Like, that's the other part of this. Like, I don't hate this world. I mean, I hate lots of things in this world, but overall, I don't hate this world. And there are a lot of really amazing things that exist because of all the things that have been imagined before. And I love those. And I would love to be able to keep those and continue those. But to transform how they're used, to transform how they're made into a much more loving, harmonious process for all people and this entire planet. This whole drama that seems to be unfolding around climate change right now is really pivotal to me. You know, this is our planet saying enough. Start cleaning house, or I'm going to do it for you. And I don't think many people would like the way she's going to do it. We're already seeing the early stages of it, the bigger storms, more chaotic weather patterns, ocean levels rising, mass die-offs in the ocean, dead zones in the oceans, hundreds of miles. And now, well, I'll get into all that in another video. This one feels like it's been long enough. And I could rant for hours on the destruction of this planet. So, again, thank you all if you're still here. I really love you. And until next time, this has been Here Now with Matthew. Aloha.